Good morning. It is 9 a.m. and I will now call this meeting to order. As is customary for this board, we will begin our meeting with a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Please be seated. Good morning. My name is Michelle Ashton, and I am the new president of the Virginia Board of Education. And I have the pleasure of taking just a brief moment to introduce our new Superintendent of Public Instruction, Jenna Conway. Over the past 7 years, Superintendent Conway has spearheaded Virginia's efforts to strengthen its birth to 5 early childhood care and education system, ensuring every child is prepared for kindergarten and beyond. Her leadership extends to overseeing special education, behavioral health, and student safety, as well as adult education, with a steadfast commitment to supporting all learners regardless of ability, age, or background. A proud Virginia native and graduate of Charlottesville City Schools, Superintendent Conway holds degrees from Yale University, the Stanford University Graduate School of Business, and the Broad Education Residency. She began her career in Children and Human Services in New York City, where she led the September 11th response efforts and improved services for 1 million of low-income residents. Most importantly, I think she might say this as well, she is the proud mom of 3 children, all of whom attend Richmond City Public Schools. Superintendent Conway, we are excited to work with you. Congrats again for this role. Would you like to share a few words?
Yes, thank you, Board President Ashton. Thank you, members of the board. This is the opportunity of a lifetime to be secretary to this very important body and to work with all of the 550 team members at the Virginia Department of Education to improve readiness for kindergarten for our birth to 5 system and readiness for life after graduation for our K-12 system. I am incredibly appreciative to the governor and to our new Secretary of Education, Jeffrey Smith. Over the last few weeks, we have begun a listening tour, and it has been so fantastic to hear from students, educators, parents, principals, division leaders, community leaders, mayors, chief of police, business leaders, and to just know how many people in the Commonwealth care so deeply about the 1.2 million students that are part of our system. So I don't know there's been a moment before in my professional career where I've said I'm really excited to spend hours and hours sitting in chairs with you all, but knowing how important this content is and what it means to all of our students, our little learners, and their families and communities, I just couldn't be more grateful. So thank you, Board President.
Great. We are excited to continue the work with you. I'd also like to share that Governor Spanberger has appointed several new board members who I will now like to introduce to you. So first we have Mr. William Robinson to my right. Mr. Robinson serves as the Executive Director of the University of Virginia's Partnership for Leaders in Education, PLE. He began his work with PLE in 2010 and leads PLE strategic direction, team development, thought leadership, partnership design, and stakeholder engagement. Under his leadership, PLE has evolved into a nationally recognized leader in school system transformation, supporting more than 200 school systems across 34 states, including partnerships with 6 Virginia school systems that each materially improved student achievement. His team's work has been recognized by both RAND and the Wallace Foundation for peer-reviewed evidence in improving student learning outcomes. Mr. Robinson has spearheaded state-level partnerships and frameworks to strengthen educational leadership and system performance. He is alumnus of Education Pioneers and has consulted for organizations including the Achievement Network, Communities in Schools, the DC Public Education Fund, and Stand for Children. His work increasingly focuses on the intersection of education and workforce to bolster economic mobility in partnership with the UVA Sands Institute for Lifelong Learning. Mr. Robinson earned his bachelor's degree in economics from Princeton University and completed graduate studies at Harvard Business School. Mr. Robinson has been appointed to an uninspired term, which expires on June 30th, 2026. Would you like to share some comments? Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is an incredible honor to serve the state of Virginia and its students. We have incredible assets to build on thanks to the hard work of the VDOE under Superintendent Conway and the previous team, as well as from this board. And we must deliver a greater life outcomes and opportunity for our students, and I'm excited to contribute to that work.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. And to my left, I have Dr. Kimberly Bridges. Dr. Kimberly Bridges has a background in K-12 education policy at the state and local levels, governance and system improvement, experience in program administration, as well as teaching adult learners and communications. She currently serves as the Associate Professor in the Department of Educational Leadership, the Director of ED Capstone Experiences, and the President of Faculty Senate at the Virginia Commonwealth University. Dr. Bridges has begun her career in education as a middle school teacher. Middle school's the best. I know that we have high school kids, but when you were high school, we loved you as middle schoolers. Teacher in Douglasville, Georgia in 1990. Dr. Bridges completed doctoral studies at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, which centered on leadership and team development, systemic improvement, and effective and inclusive governance. Dr. Bridges earned her bachelor's degree at the University of Virginia, as well as a master's degree in education from the University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies. Dr. Bridges' career has included roles in pre-K-12, adult and higher education instruction, legislative and nonprofit communications, school engagement and advocacy, program administration, state education policy, and local education governance. She was elected to school board as a school board member for Richmond Public Schools from 2006 to 2012, who was selected by her peers to serve 2 terms as the board chair. Today, her school leadership, teaching, and facilitation focuses on effective and inclusive K-12 governance practices and policies that support systemic improvement in student success. Dr. Bridges has been appointed to a full term, which expires on June 30th, 2029. Welcome, and would you like to share some few remarks?
Thanks so much. And if y'all are thinking 1990 seems like forever ago, you're right. That middle school stint was short-lived, and there's a reason for that. Undying respect to middle school teachers.
Yes.
I'm honored to be here, and I just wanted to say that I look forward to working with all of the board on Governor Spanberger's charge that we make Virginia schools the best in the nation. It is completely doable as a product of Chesapeake Public Schools, a husband who is a product of Prince William Public Schools, children who went to Richmond Public Schools. I know that there's a lot of strengths that we can build on, and I'm really excited to work with all stakeholders on this effort. Thanks so much for that introduction.
Great. Please just give a round for our new superintendent and our new board members. Great. So now we'll get into the business. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Is there a second?
Second.
Great. We'll do roll call. Dr. Bridges?
Aye.
Is Ms. McPherson on today? Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Hanson?
Aye.
Dr. Northern?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kilgore?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Okay, great. Staff have been provided, staff has provided the members of the board with draft minutes before the meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented to the board?
So moved.
Second.
Great. Roll call. Dr. Bridges?
Abstain.
Mr. Hanson?
Aye.
Dr. Northern?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kilgore?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Great. This is the best part of the day. All right. Are you guys ready? The board appreciates being able to feature the wonderful arts program across the Commonwealth by having students perform at our meetings. I will now ask Mrs. Kilgore to provide us with an introduction for our guests.
Good morning. The Matoaka High School Jazz Band in Chesterfield Public Schools, under the direction of Mr. Donald Davis, proudly celebrates 24 years of musical excellence under his leadership. The jazz ensemble performs a wide variety of styles, including blues, swing, rock, funk, Latin, and more, showcasing both versatility and musicianship. Over the years, they have had the honor of performing for events at Fort Lee, the Virginia Fine Arts Museum, as well as numerous state and local occasions. Many members of this ensemble also participate in our award-winning show band, which has earned countless Best Band trophies at show choir competitions. Also in attendance to support the Matoaka High School Jazz Band are Chesterfield School Division Performing Arts Curriculum Specialist Lisa Coffey and Dr. Robin Yo, Immediate Past Performing Arts Curriculum Specialist. Our students are deeply passionate about jazz and are grateful for the opportunity to perform for you this morning.
for reconvening, and I just have to take a moment to say how I always believe music lifts the soul, and this morning that performance was really beautiful, and I wish the kids were here, but there's so much hours that goes into making My Girl and Heard It from the Grapevine actually sound like My Girl and Heard It from the Grapevine. And so just congrats to the leaders and teachers and family members who helped those young people perform today. So thank you. March.
I could also
Yes,
just
go ahead.
say that I'd make a motion that we start every board meeting with Martha and the Vandellas. And
Yes.
we'll be in a much better place.
Well, that's a tall ask. We'll have to, but I'm sure Virginia's students are up to it. March is Youth Arts Month, Music in Our Schools Month, and Theater in Our Schools Month. I'm going to ask Ms. Kilgore to read the recognition.
I wanted to add too, and I'm like you, I hate that they're not here to hear it, but I told them out in the lobby that, I've taught teenagers for 36 years, and what a joy to see the passion on teens' faces when they're really doing something that they really love, and they were so talented. We've had some really wonderful performances, and it's one of my very favorites that I've heard, so very proud of them. March is recognized as Dance in Our Schools Month, Music in Our Schools Month, Theater in Our Schools Month, and Youth Art Month. This month offers an opportunity to recognize the vital role the fine arts programs play in Virginia's comprehensive K-12 education system. Through fine arts instruction, students build a wide range of abilities, including critical thinking, creative problem solving, effective communication, collaboration, cultural and historical understanding, and imaginative and flexible thinking. Students learn, create, and achieve in fine arts subjects by demonstrating resilience and teamwork, we saw that this morning, which are skills commonly reported by employers as being essential skills for any workplace. Virginia prescribes standards of learning for K-12 instruction in all 4 fine arts disciplines. Those standards are currently in the 7-year review cycle, and public comment is open so we can hear from our citizens on how to improve the standards for the future. Each year, approximately 2/3 of Virginia students participate in at least one fine arts course. All elementary schools across the Commonwealth provide art and music, and these subjects continue to be offered in every middle and high school. Statewide enrollment is increasing in fine arts courses such as ceramics, sculpture, guitar, songwriting, music technology, middle school chorus, orchestra, band, dance, and musical and technical theater. Data also shows that students who take multiple years of fine arts in high school have lower rates of chronic absenteeism. Seniors each year between 2020 and 2024 who were enrolled in 4 years of fine arts demonstrated a 32% and 50% lower absenteeism rate than those who did not take a fine arts course during high school. These findings hold true when comparing data across fine arts disciplines and for key variables such as race, ethnicity, enrollments in free and reduced price meals programs, and English learners. We extend our appreciation to Virginia's fine arts educators and school leaders for your commitment and service to students in Virginia by offering the best-in-class fine arts education in Virginia schools.
Thank you, Ms. Kilgore. At this moment, we will also have recognition of the principals of the year. Dr. Bridges, will you please read the recognition?
Yeah, you want me to go there?
Yes, please. Yes. Great. Thank you. That's okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Today, we're honored to recognize exceptional school leaders whose dedication, vision, and commitment to students and their communities have earned distinction from the Virginia Association of Elementary School Principals and the Virginia Association of Secondary School Principals. So we'll ask recognees to come up as they're named, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so our first recognition celebrates an outstanding assistant principal whose leadership and dedication exemplify the impact of strong school leadership. The Virginia Association of Elementary School Principals has recognized Mrs. Macy Lane of Culpeper County Public Schools as Virginia's representative for the National Outstanding Assistant Principal Award. This honor highlights the essential role assistant principals play in school success. It's a pleasure to introduce Mrs. Lane, who leads by example, consistently, demonstrating integrity, accountability, and a student-centered approach in her actions. Her strong work ethic and commitment to continuous growth set a powerful example for her school community. Congratulations, Mrs. Lane, Macy Lane. Perfect, thank you. Joining her, it's my privilege to introduce Ms. Lisa A. Warner as the 2026 Outstanding Middle School Principal of Virginia. Welcome. Her leadership in Prince William County Public Schools reflects a deep commitment to meeting the academic and developmental needs of middle school students. Under her leadership, Marsteller Middle School, oh, that's where my husband went, has earned statewide recognition for academic achievement and student outcomes. Please join us in celebrating Ms. Lisa Warner. Thank you. We are also proud to recognize Mr. Derek Cantrell as the 2026 Outstanding High School Principal of Virginia. He was recognized for his leadership in Allegheny Highlands Public School for successful student school consolidation, culture building, and expanding opportunities for students. His work reflects a strong belief that every student deserves a rigorous learning experience and clear pathways to success beyond graduation. Please join us in congratulating Mr. Derek Cantrell. And last but certainly not least, we honor Dr. Chantel Cook of Williamsburg, James City County Public Schools. Dr. Cook was recognized as the 2026 Outstanding High School Assistant Principal of Virginia. Dr. Cook's leadership reflects a deep commitment to students, establishing strong instructional pathways, and creating a positive school climate that supports both students and staff. Please join us in celebrating Dr. Chantel Cook. On behalf of the Board of Education, we extend our sincere congratulations to each of these outstanding school leaders. We'd like to recognize the many individuals who support your work each day. To your families, your superintendents, your school teams, and the professional organizations that champion educational leadership, we thank you for the encouragement, partnership, and support that help make your important work possible. And last round of clapping, I promise. Once again, congratulations to all of you, and thank you for the lasting impact y'all are making in the lives of Virginia students and our schools.
We're going to go ahead and get started. Before we start in public comment, I can't imagine that there are other principals and assistant principals who are watching right now because they're busy with scholars. But on behalf of the whole board, we just want to say thank you to all of our school leaders every day who show up to create a known, loved, and respected community for our students and families. While we just recognize several today, we know that there are so many hardworking leaders, and we really want you all to know that we appreciate you. So now we're going to transition to our public comment. As stated in the board's bylaws, it is the pleasure of the board to accept public comment on all matters related to public education in Virginia. Before we begin our public comment today, I want to share a few comments about the manner in which public comments will be conducted. I ask that you model professionalism, dignity, and respect for others as you share your thoughts today. As adults, it is important that we model respectful, civil, public discourse for our students and the children who either in attendance or today, or who will be viewing the stream now or in the future. When you begin, please provide your name, role or affiliation, and where you live in Virginia. All remarks must be directed towards the chair, not to any other individual. Speakers will have 3 minutes to share their remarks. You'll notice that there is a timer on the screens which will begin. At 1 minute, the screen will turn yellow. The screen will turn red when time is up. At that point, please close your remarks promptly. And I will apologize in advance because we want to be respectful of time. I will interrupt to make sure that we stay on time, so apologies in advance. Speakers, you may provide copies of your comments to Mr. Joe Crook, who's right here in the front. Thank you. He leads the department's regulatory and board coordinator. All written comments received during public comment will be collected and provided to the board as soon as possible after public comment. You may also email a copy of your remarks to the board at boe@doe.virginia.gov. I do have a list of members who have signed up, so if I'll call in groups of 3, and if you would mind standing by the microphone to my right. Scott Braban, Sonia Richardson, Luis Montoyo Hilario. Are you all present? No. Okay, we'll go on. LaWanda Travis, Tiffany Ricketts, Sarah, if I mispronounce this, Katsuzinski? Oh, yes, okay. Great, thank you. Will you please state your name and where you live in Virginia?
Good morning. My name is LaWanda Travis. I am a proud graduate of King and Queen County Public Schools and a proud graduate of a Virginia State University here. I come to you all. Thank you again, board, for taking the time out to come and do a listening tour. It was much needed, and we got a chance to converse with you all and get things out that many localities all throughout Virginia needed. But I'm back again in reference to my public school systems, and just basically I will continue to fight for the rights of all students. They all are afforded a free and appropriate education, but we also would like to continue to ask for the VDOE to help us with making the localities accountable for that education for the students. When we lack when I say resources, we have some very talented administrators and teachers who are pouring their hearts out to these students and trying to give them that education. But when we get into a state that we are in now, not only with the state, but with our current world, where people are taking advantage of others who don't understand the laws, or taking advantage of people's naivety, and taking these students' education away to fill their pockets. Unfortunately, we have that happening We've asked numerous of times for accountability. So I would, like I said, I will continue to come back to ask how you all can reach down to those localities to hold them accountable for the accountability, the evaluations, making sure our teachers get the things they need, because you all provide us with the resources, with the funding and things of that nature. But we are just being held hostage because sometimes it starts at the local level with who we put in school boards. I will tell you, unfortunately, we are in the process of taking out our entire school board due to several things, as well as trying to put things in place to get back the education we need. Thank you for your time, and look forward to talking with you all.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Travis. Can we just check the clock? I don't know if it actually... It was not working, but thanks, Ms. Travis.
I'll keep time and I'll just...
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm going to speak quickly. I've got it
Wait.
right at 3 minutes.
Okay, wonderful. Don't start yet.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, great.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Katazinski, and I am the parent and advocate from Iowa County. I want you to picture this. 2 adults in a classroom with multiple children, one eloping toward the door, one in the middle of behavioral crisis, one who needs immediate help in the bathroom, and several more students who can be doing any number of things. Now ask yourself, how many hands do those adults have? Because this is not a hypothetical. This is happening every single day in self-contained special education classrooms across Virginia. And my son is one of those children in those classrooms. His safety, his dignity, and his ability to learn depend on having enough trained adults in the room every single moment of the day. These classrooms serve students with the most significant support needs, children who require constant assistance with toileting, hygiene, communication, mobility, and behavioral regulation. This is not occasional support. This is continuous, hands-on care. And yet staffing structures do not reflect the reality of that. Paraprofessionals are doing physically demanding, highly specialized work, preventing injuries, supporting communication, managing behaviors, and meeting basic human needs. But they are often treated and paid the same as paraprofessionals in far less intensive settings. The result is what we are seeing across our state: high turnover, staffing shortages, and burnout in the classrooms that can least afford it. When these classrooms are understaffed, the impact is immediate. Students receive less individualized support. Teachers are forced into unsafe ratios. Behavioral crises become harder to safely manage. And when classrooms are stuck in a constant cycle of managing health and safety needs, something else is lost: learning. These children are capable of learning. They are capable of growth, communication, and progress, but that only happens when there are enough adults in the room for the teachers to actually teach, not just manage. And those ratios become even more unsafe in moments that matter most, when staff members are helping children in the bathroom, assisting with hygiene, or de-escalating a behavior. They are fully occupied. That leaves fewer adults for the rest of the classroom. In many classrooms, the certified teachers also pulled away for IEP meetings and planning periods. This is not sustainable, and more importantly, it's not safe. Self-contained classrooms cannot operate under a one-size-fits-all staffing model. The margin for error is too small. So today I'm asking for 3 changes. First, establish minimum staffing ratios that reflect the true intensity of self-contained classrooms. 1 or 2 adults is not enough. Second, create a differentiated pay for paraprofessionals in high-needs environments. Third, revise the funding formula to account for a higher number of paraprofessionals in self-contained special education classrooms based on the intensity of the student needs. Our children deserve safe, supported learning environments, and right now there is a gap between what is funded, what is expected, and what is actually happening in these classrooms. The gap is being carried every day by under-supported staff and vulnerable students. I urge you to close the gap. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Katzinski.
You got it.
Say that one more time. Your name.
Katazinski.
Katazinski, thank you. Is Rakita Hall here? Okay, please come up to the mic. Did I say your name right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Rakita Hall. My son attends Southampton. My son was punished for 3 days for coming home telling me a situation that happened in school with the teacher. I reported it to the principal. The principal swept it under the rug. Instead, they switched my son's class to another class, which made him feel that me advocating for him was not enough and that his feelings didn't matter. So my son was refusing to go to school due to these allegations of them bringing a daughter 11 days later after we had meetings with the school board. The school board stated that they were not going to change my son's class due to his learning disability. But later on that night at 7 p.m., I had got a call from the school saying that they did not accept the agreement with Ms. Quayles, I believe that's her name, with the school board. And she said that my son needs to change his class. And I stated, can they not change my son's class because he has a learning disability? But she said that she cannot fix a bond between me and the teacher. I didn't understand what she meant by that because I didn't know that we had to have a bond for my son. I just wanted my son to learn from her and be able to succeed. But she punished my son and put him in timeout for 3 days because she said that he came home and told me something that she didn't want him to tell me. My son told everyone what happened. 11 days later, they allowed the adult to come in and say that she didn't hear the teacher say that. I've been reaching out to the school board for the past month. Emails, I sent 13 emails to 13 people. Nobody responded. So it forced me to change my son's school due to his safety because I felt my son was not safe there due to a teacher telling him not to come home and telling me something and punished him for 3 days. He wasn't able to play with his students. He was at a table by himself for 3 days because he came home and told me what happened in the classroom. And the situation is still not handled, so I felt that me, as a mother, I should come advocate for the next kid so that wouldn't happen for the next kid to come home and tell their parents something and then feel that they're going to get in trouble with the school. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. I don't have anyone else here listed for public comment. Okay. Would you like to come to the podium? Please introduce yourself. Would you please come to the mic? Please introduce yourself.
Wendy Little, Aaron's mom,
In which locale do you live?
Chesterfield County.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that was at Shriners Hospital a few years ago. Aaron was at Charterhouse Day School practicing pomp and circumstance for the other kids about to graduate. He was in 8th grade. At the end of the year, we found out he was getting elementary school work at the Charterhouse Day School. He was simply supposed to just repeat 8th grade in the public school 4 years ago, and he should be graduating this year, and he should be playing guitar in that jazz band with Chesterfield County Public Schools. So today we're going to have a hard discussion about corruption. So as you know, Jay Jones just put out an opinion about what you must do. Board of Education, you are required to oversee your Department of Education. And Samantha Hollins has been problematic for a long time because as the Director of Special Education previously for Chesterfield County, she ought to know what compliance is and compensatory education is for Chesterfield, who received a state complaint through your dispute resolution process. Where's the resolutions? And then the LEA lost the appeal. And so you are required to enforce by no later than July of 2025. Then Senator Favola sent a letter the next year, said, you better fix this by July of 2025, and I want you, board, to report on the remedy for Aaron Little. Then Trump initiated a White House investigation. Everybody ignored everything. And the problem is that Deb Love worked against you too because she's got a dirty, underhanded contract under the Office of the Prior Attorney General that just, it's called non-delegable duties. It's a fee shifting strategy. So instead of complying, they sued me in an underground lawsuit, ultra vires retaliatory lawsuit, and she authorized the contract. OAG does not have an IDEA enforcement budget. OAG is billing as a due process, which it's not. It's circuit court. That's malfeasance in billing, and there is no enforcement, and you have to take Chesterfield's grants because your grants are on the line. I'm available for questions. Some of you have information. This stuff has got to stop. We have got to stop having special education parents with, it's not needs being met, it's compliance. You must comply in order to qualify for your grants. And there's a lot of people shoving stuff under the rug, trying to bury Aaron Little, bury me. He's going to walk that stage in 2 months, and somebody needs to make it happen. His doctor already, I won't even say, it's out there. He knows he's supposed to graduate 2 years before his little brother, and this non-compliance over and over again, it's got to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Little. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment? Okay, that ends our public comment portion of the meeting. We will now move to our consent agenda. Okay, so we have final review to certify a list of qualified persons for the Office of Division Superintendent of Schools, and the final review of the financial report on literacy fund and updates to the first priority waiting list. Is there a motion to waive first review and approve the items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. Great. Do a roll call. Dr. Bridges?
Aye.
Mr. Hanson?
Aye.
Dr. Northern? Aye. Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kilgore?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Thank you. Okay, now we have moved to the action and discussion items on our agenda. Item C, first and final review of the Strengthening Career and Technical Education for the 21st Century Act Perkins Revised State Plan. I'm going to have Dr. Williams, the Director of Office of Career and Technical Education. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. President Ashton, members of the board, and Superintendent Conway. My name is Dr. Anthony Williams, Director of the Office of Career and Technical Education. Today, I will provide an update on Virginia's Perkins 5 state plan, where we are, our recommendation for a one-year renewal for FY 2026, and how we will position ourselves for a new four-year plan. I will also share the latest state-determined performance level updates and the recommended path as we move forward. As you look at your presentation, slide 2, Virginia's Perkins 5 state plan, last approved by the Board of Education for 2020-2024, is currently operating under a second one-year extension. Perkins 5 is the primary federal grant supporting career and technical education in middle and high schools, post-secondary institutions, and correctional education. The plan functions as our roadmap to strengthen academic and technical skills, align programs with workforce demand, provide flexibility to innovate, improve accountability, and promote equity and access across the Commonwealth. Slide 3. I will start with where we are currently. For FY 2025, Virginia's Perkins 5 federal grant totals approximately $32.5 million. From this, we set aside a 3.7% state reserve to support future CTE 3E readiness regional coordinator positions. The core of this grant, approximately $26.6 million, is to support our LEAs, which includes 131 school divisions, our 23 Virginia community colleges, as well as leadership activities at approximately $3.2 million, state administration at $1.6 million. With this context, let's take a look at the federal requirements shaping our immediate next steps. Slide 4. February 4th, 2026, we received a communication from the U.S. Department of Education. It was the requirements and instructions of Perkins 5 for FY 2026. And based on this communication, our recommendation is to submit a one-year renewal. This approach gives us more time to prepare for a new 4-year state plan, including robust public engagement aligned to our listening tour, ensuring broader stakeholder consultation and input into our forthcoming 4-year state plan. We also want you to be aware that our Perkins 5 state plan is aligned to our Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, WIOA, combined state plan. The WIOA combined state plan is the statewide 4-year strategy that coordinates all major workforce education and training programs in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We have submitted the Perkins 5 state plan narrative section with minor technical revisions as indicated in the agenda item. With the one-year state plan renewal, we must update our state-determined performance levels as identified. This is required by federal law. These performance levels include one core indicator of performance and the state-determined levels for each indicator. For FY 2026, we calculated our state-determined performance levels by averaging the 2 most recently completed program years and then applying the federal minimum increase of 0.01. This method balances rigor with stability while we refine measures ahead of our comprehensive new 4-year state plan. Slide 6. Next steps. So, as mentioned, in the short term, we will submit a 1-year renewal for the current Perkins 5 state plan that includes updated state-determined performance levels as required by the U.S. Department of Education. For the longer term, we must produce a new 4-year state plan. To do this, we will develop criteria and clear definitions to evaluate current and future industry-recognized credentials, which is a significant portion of this new state plan. We will conduct broad stakeholder consultation consistent with our Perkins 5 requirements. We will hold and conduct 2 public hearings to gather recommendations, and we will bring a new 4-year state plan to the Board of Education for approval in early 2027. The appendix identifies the current state-determined performance levels alongside the revised levels we will carry forward in our 1-year renewal. Several indicators are flagged for potential updates when unanticipated circumstances occur, particularly those requiring better measurement methods or enhanced data quality. Our goal is continuous improvement while maintaining clear accountability. In summary, the 1-year renewal ensures compliance with our April 30th, 2026 federal deadline, preserves program continuity, and most importantly, creates a space of robust public input needed for our 4-year state plan to be approved in early 2027. On behalf of the state superintendent, we recommend that you review and approve Virginia's 1-year renewal for its Perkins state plan. And at this time, I welcome any feedback or questions.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Board members, do you have any questions? Dr. Northern?
So right now, under what assumptions are our schools working in terms of the career and college ready? Like what are they operating under right now in terms of the assumptions of the credit that they're getting for the IRCs in particular?
Great question. So currently we're operating under the board-approved credentialing list that was last approved in 2025, okay? Mm-hmm. We have extended the 25-26 list of industry credentials and for the 26-27 school year. So this is our second year of extensions, and so this provides school divisions with additional flexibility, time to plan, time to engage in our process for the development of the new definition and criteria. And so all credentials that were currently in place for this school year remain in place for next school year.
Okay, just a follow-up. So I've been pretty clear about this the past few meetings, just in terms of my concern relative to the tiers of the IRCs so that we're not treating Microsoft Word the same as a a certified nursing assistant credential or something like that. And I know former member Monk was also concerned about that. So I would just urge you, as we do this one-year extension, to solicit input on that from our stakeholders, because I really think we're unfortunately could go down the path of what other states have already gotten wrong, which is making all IRCs the same, treating them the same. And for instance, as I've mentioned before, Texas did the same thing, and they had all kids getting IRCs in Microsoft Word and OSHA safety instead of all the other more robust IRCs we want to see. So if we can figure out a way, as Texas is doing, to tier different IRCs relative to not only their demand, but their wage earning potential. Demand, you can have a demand for a low wage job, and it's not the same as having demand for a high wage job that offers a young individual a real path forward. So I'll just continue to beat that drum and just say that's important for us as a Commonwealth to make sure that we're incentivizing the right types of industry recognized credentials across the board.
Great. Board members, any follow-up questions? Yes. Dr. Bridges?
Thank you, Madam President. I have two, if that's okay. They're related. The first is, as y'all will hear more from me as we get to know each other better, I'm not a big fan of first and final reads because it doesn't give the public the opportunity to weigh in at the next meeting before board action. However, I understand that there are exceptions in cases when that's required. So I'm just curious, because of the timeline here, you got the February outreach from the federal government, and this is due in April. Is the next board meeting too close to that April submission so that we couldn't just do the regular first read and then final read at the April board meeting?
It would not provide enough time to make any modifications or changes. The publication that is currently before you as the attachment is out for public comment currently, which ends also on April the 30th. So it is a very aggressive timeline, unfortunately. But once again, to that point, this is our second year extension. We're operating under a board-approved plan from 2020 to 2024. The only significant changes would be the state-determined performance levels, which ultimately we only increased by the minimum as allowed. And thus far, we have not received any public comment in that regard.
So my related question is, I understand that you want to have more robust outreach, engagement, and feedback beyond this one-year extension. Do you have any sense that we could let folks know about now of what that could look like beyond the 2 public comment periods? Any additional plans for that feedback?
So public comment period would only be for the FY 2026 plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so all stakeholder consultations and engagement moving forward would be for FY 2027. And so we have between now and before we present to you all in early January of 2027, ideally, to engage with the public. That's going to be regional meetings with CTE administrators. There's going to be our public hearings. So there will be many, many opportunities for us to engage as an agency with our stakeholders. We're also engaged with many of our workforce agency partners to gather and solicit feedback to include, but not limited to, Virginia Works, the VOE, Virginia Office of Education Economics, just to name a few, and VCCS.
Thank you.
Superintendent Conway?
Yes, thank you, Board President. I would also add that, as Dr. Williams noted, we have heard a lot about this as part of the listening tour, and so I think as we intend on reflecting back on some of the insights heard from the listening tour later this spring, and then as part of the listening tour, we have heard from the field a desire to understand what is happening when and along the way, particularly over the next 4 years. There'll be opportunity for deeper feedback, and so looking at how we would backwards map with Dr. Williams and Mr. McClary, kind of on how we can get to a place where, assuming a similar timeline from the feds next year, that we are anticipating that and doing much more extensive feedback and engagement than the federally required minimum. But we hear your point on the first and final review.
Yes. Mr. Robinson?
Yes, Dr. Williams, Thank you for this presentation. On the set aside in the budget that goes to the VDOE to decide what to do with those funds, what is the current usage of those funds, and how much, what percentage are we setting aside compared to what you're able to set aside for strategic priorities?
I would need to gather that data. I can tell you currently it's utilized for our regional positions to support our regional CTEs. And the title is our CTE regional coordinators. That's where we're moving in that direction. Currently, those positions are not advertised, but we're moving in that direction. In addition to that, we have a number of different things that we are considering, such as support for our career and technical student organizations, and how we can continue to support our school division and LEAs with additional funding opportunities. So much to be determined in the future, but there will be some money left over after the regional coordinator positions.
Great. And then a quick follow-up and then a comment on the program quality performance levels. It's noted that some were not actually increased 1% due to unanticipated circumstances, such as if I'm reading correctly, such as the participation in work-based learning going from 36.9% down in the revised plan to 33.8%. And just curious, at a high level, what are the unanticipated circumstances that are causing us to decrease those metrics?
That's a great question. And so to clarify, each one of those state-determined performance levels includes the 2-year average with a federal minimum increase of 0.01. And so if it was a decrease from the previous year, that means the year significantly lower, okay? So all of them were impacted by that formula. What we have anticipated as a unanticipated circumstance is that back in December of 2025, we released our high-quality work-based learning implementation guide. That was a guide that was previously approved by the Board of Education back, I believe, in August of 2025. And so with that documentation, we have transitioned from 12 work-based learning experiences to 6 high-quality work-based learning experiences. We have identified definitions and criteria for the evaluation of those work-based learning experiences, and we have also included a certification process which allows the Virginia Department of Education to approve such experiences that are for our students throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. So there's a number of unanticipated circumstances as a result of those changes.
Thank you for that. I would encourage, as we think about the funding and the plan going forward, a consideration of how to really strategically use that state set-aside formula, and at least put an option before the superintendent and the board on how those funds could be fully maximized to really invest in places that are putting forward strong plans to actually move forward innovation and program quality and results, so that we both can invest in, not just spread the funding in a formulaic way, but invest in the places that can lead Virginia to the future, and also think about how to combine this funding with school improvement funding in strategic ways, so that it's so that schools can have a coherent way that they're using funds across Perkins and other sources.
Yeah.
Superintendent Conway?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Robinson. So I think one of the things that's really important to note, as Dr. Williams was alluding to there, right, is that we, in general, the way in which a state or entity maximizes federal funding is in line with their own strategy. And so the major shift for Dr. Williams' work over the last few years has been in line with the school performance and support framework, and the idea of 3E being a significant portion of how we measure all of our high schools across the Commonwealth. As part of that, you're now trying to not only align with the very formulaic federal requirements around the performance indicators, but as you noted, Dr. Northern, that we do have now a higher standard for work-based learning than the feds require, right? And so you might see a reduction in participation because we want that use of time and resources to actually provide more value for Virginia students. I think the same, I just want to note that in addition to all the things that are federally required and then the request for deeper engagement, we also have a joint legislative audit and review commission study, JLARC, saying that we need to sort of take another look at 3E and really ensure that how we're evaluating schools aligns with what parents want for their students in their high schools, what sort of leads to success after high school, while also sort of ensuring full compliance with the federal law. So please note that that also will come to you, and that a very idea, sir, of maximization as we think about coherence. How do we get 3E right? How do we make sure that we support 3E in the field? Those readiness coordinators would in fact focus in on those schools that need the most assistance around improving their 3E pathways, and make sure that we're then not only aligned with what the federal requirements are, which I often think of as the floor, but really what this body wants as relates to 3E and school performance and support framework, and also what we know is a top priority for this governor and this General Assembly.
Thank you.
Thanks. Board members, any other questions? Okay, Dr. Wade and Superintendent Conway, again, thank you for the presentation. And I just want to echo, there's a sense of urgency to move forward, but also a sense of just patience to make sure that we have appropriate alignment. And I appreciate Mr. Robinson's point around just making sure we maximize the resources that we have. And look forward to hearing more about the plan for engagement, which you all have done well just initially around the listening tours. But I think that will further enhance how we move together, urgency, but bring the field along with us. So again, want to thank you for that as well. Just echoing, it's great to hear that we have higher standards. And so aligning it with the feds, including Dr. Northam's point around the tiers and making sure that there's differentiation between the IRCs. So again, thank you for the presentation. With that, is there a motion to waive first review and approve the 26-27 Perkins State Plan?
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
Great. I'll do a roll call. Dr. Bridges?
Aye.
Mr. Hanson?
Aye.
Dr. Northern?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kilgore?
Aye.
And chair votes aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have Mr. Chapman up for first and final review of the petition for rulemaking.
Thank you very much, President Ashton, Vice President Hanson, members of the board, and Superintendent Conway. I'll be up here for a stretch, so I'm excited to help close this part of the meeting. On December 17th, 2025, the Board of Education received an amended petition for rulemaking from Lucinda Jones requesting that the board replace the term private school for students with disabilities as used in the board's regulations governing the operation of private schools for students with disabilities in sections 10 and sections 30 with the terms non-public school for students with disabilities or alternative school for students with disabilities. In accordance with processes laid out in the Virginia Administrative Process Act, that petition was published for a 21-day public comment period on February 16th, 2026. And we are presenting this item for you on first and final review, in large part because as part of the petition, when it was submitted to the register, we had to give them a plan for disposing of the petition, and the plan was to do it at this meeting. So, here we are at this. The recommendation from staff is that the board deny this particular request for rulemaking for the following reasons. One, the request in the petition is merely a terminological change, and it does not alter existing regulatory policy as set forth in the board's regulations. Second, the terms identified in the petition have been used in this chapter since at least 2015 in its current form, and in its predecessor chapter 670, which was promulgated first in 2004. The board has not received any similar comments regarding issues with the terms as used, nor has the department received similar comments in the process of licensing and monitoring entities that are regulated by this chapter. And finally, these terms as used in the regulatory chapter the regulations are actually required by statute in 22.1-323 of the Code of Virginia. Section B of that part of the code specifically identifies the subject of the board's regulations to be private schools for students with disabilities. And Section C also uses the terms residential school for students with disabilities and private day special education school. So these are statutory terms as they are used. We think that it would cause more confusion for the board to change this after such a long time of their being in use in the field, and the fact that these are statutory terms that are being used. And so the recommendation from the Superintendent of Public Instruction is that the Board of Education deny the petition for rulemaking for the reasons identified in this item.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Board members, are there any questions? Dr. Northam?
What would be the particular advantage of going with this recommendation by Ms. Jones? Is there something here that we're missing?
Yeah, the statement from Ms. Jones was that this would help in applying for grants. However, the grants that are in question are for public schools, and changing the term to non-public schools still does not make these particular schools public schools. It just makes them non-public. We wouldn't be using the word private. Yeah.
Board members, any other questions? Okay. Is there a motion to deny the petition for rulemaking for the reasons identified in this item?
So moved.
Second.
Great. I'll do a roll call. Dr. Bridges?
Aye.
Mr. Hanson?
Aye.
Dr. Northern? Aye. Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kilgore?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Thank you. All right, Mr. Chapman, you're up again.
Thank you, President Ashton. Members of the board, item E is a first and final review for a fast-track regulatory action in order to amend the regulations for teacher licensure with respect to the Algebra 1 add-on endorsement. And essentially what we are doing in this item, Chapter 552 of the 2025 Acts of the Assembly directed the board specifically to amend its regulations to earn an add-on endorsement for algebra in order to eliminate requirements that candidates must complete coursework in calculus, Euclidean geometry, probability and statistics, and discrete mathematics. So this proposed regulatory action eliminates the requirement that candidates take these courses from that particular section and provides the relevant requirements needed to earn the add-on endorsement. Additionally, Chapter 552 stated that candidates needed or may receive a passing score on the Praxis Algebra 1 add-on endorsement exam in lieu of the requirements that they complete coursework in elementary functions, introductory college algebra, trigonometry, and linear algebra. So the regulation will be amended to include this directive. Normally, this type of specific directive would have been brought as an exempt action, of which the criteria would have been very specifically that the board is not exercising any discretion at all. This has been bumped down to a fast track, for which the statutory criteria is that the item is non-controversial. We think that this item qualifies as non-controversial because we are essentially doing exactly what the legislature said to do, with one minor difference. When the legislature struck these particular requirements from the Algebra 1 add-on endorsement, it did not lower the hours requirement from 24 to another number. And so the board is exercising the minimal amount of discretion in moving this from 24 hours in order to attain the endorsement to 12 hours. We did run this through internally in a department and found out that these particular courseworks added up to about 3 hours apiece, or sorry, 4 hours apiece. Yeah, and so the numbers are, it's a 6 to 3 reduction in the number of requirements, and it's a 24 to 12 reduction in the number of hours. We didn't think it would be appropriate for licensees to be saddled with the same number of hours with the fewer number of requirements, and we took this to be the legislative intent in making this change.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chapman. Board members, are there questions? Dr. Northern?
Just making sure I get this, Jim. Given that we are very concerned about our kids and their math scores on the SOL, I mean, are we essentially saying to get an endorsement in algebra, you no longer have to take calculus, Euclidean geometry, probability, statistics, and discrete mathematics? Or are we saying that that goes somewhere else? I mean, I guess I'm just trying to figure out, are we in effect saying that our math teachers who teach algebra, and we know Algebra 1's a gateway for graduation success, are we lowering the bar on what it takes to teach algebra?
Well, I have to be very
Okay.
narrow in the answer on this one. I think it is the General Assembly that has made that decision. And so the board has been directed by the General Assembly and by this law to do this particular action. So no, I don't think it's the board that is doing this, but it is the policy now of the state as codified in law that this has to be done in the board's regulations.
So just to follow up, they'll still need to pass the algebra praxis and get a certain cut score.
Correct.
So in other words, by lowering this bar for what algebra teachers need to take to get on this endorsement, they can still not pass the praxis, but a district can still hire them without passing the praxis. Am I correct?
I believe that
about
they still will need to pass the praxis, that requirement is not being changed.
Yeah, Rob, that'd be great
Yeah.
if you could. I just want to make sure what we're
Yep.
doing here, because this is, in my mind, it's kind of consequential for our math teachers.
Right.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Is it afternoon? Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
To answer your question, yes, there is still a praxis requirement, but the praxis can be substituted just for this add-on endorsement with either that coursework or that praxis exam. But this is only for an add-on endorsement. And it's geared just pretty much for middle school teachers because with the addition of all the math requirements that have elevated into the high school level, there's a shortage of Algebra 1 and geometry teachers in the middle school. So the expectation primarily is that there will be science teachers that are already in middle school that will probably take this route so that they can also teach some of the very low-level math, but they will not be able to teach the higher-level math. But to answer your question, it does say either in here. They can either take those courses or they can substitute them with the Algebra 1 assessment.
Anything else, Dr. Northern? Okay. Board members, yep, Dr. Bridges?
You might not want to go far, because I want to make sure I am further understanding the either or. So the reduction from 12 to 20, to 24 to 12 credits is a given, and then if they pass the praxis, they don't even have to take the elementary functions, introductory algebra, trigonometry, linear algebra. So essentially, those folks who pass the praxis haven't had to take the other 12 credit hours that formerly were required, and they don't have to take an additional, the other 12. They're only coming in with mathematical modeling and methods of teaching algebra. Am I understanding that correctly?
You are understanding that correctly. One of the documents in here is just a one-page document, and that would show you the courses that were removed, also the courses that would remain, or, and you can see at the bottom says, a candidate may use a passing score to replace those courses there at the bottom. And your question at root is asking, can you take an assessment and never have taken some of the coursework? And you can add an endorsement in many cases through just taking an assessment, not just this pathway. That is in many high school level coursework.
Yeah. And so I'm assuming the Madam Chair, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yes,
Follow up.
continue, yes.
That legislative intent was to address our significant teacher shortage in these areas. What I have found in my work is that when folks with less content requirements come into the classroom, they ultimately need more support once they're in the classroom. And I'm guessing that the Acts of Assembly didn't address that part of the equation, correct? And
not
so
in
that
this.
would be something for this board to consider, not with this particular issue, but going forward, is, what is the support that these folks get once they're in the classroom, having a significant reduction in content requirement?
Not only this board, but also all school divisions.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Bridges. Any other board members' questions? Superintendent Conway, any comments? Okay. Is there a motion to waive first review and approve the opening periodic reviews on the regulatory chapters identified in the item presented?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Great, roll call. Dr. Bridges?
Aye.
Mr. Hanson?
Aye.
Dr. Northern? Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kilgore?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Thank you. All right, Mr. Champion, you're up again.
Thank you. The second part of Chapter 552 of the 2025 Acts of the Assembly directed the board, in part, to develop and approve a geometry add-on endorsement for teachers licensed by the board to provide instruction in geometry for students in kindergarten through grade 8. So this would be a brand-new build on an endorsement. We are asking this for first and final review because this will be the notice of intended regulatory action of a 3-stage process of regulatory review. So this NORA would go out for a 30-day public comment period. Of course, there's no text attending this. So then we would go into a development for text with the advisory board on teacher education and licensure, where members of the public would be able to, provide input. Then that item would come back to the board on 2 successive reviews, hopefully for first and final at the proposed stage with the actual text that's being requested for this add-on endorsement, the specific requirements. That would then go out for a 60-day public comment period, and then that would return to the board again for final review with the compilation of all public comment received. So at this stage, because this is just announcing to the public that there will be a regulatory action for this add-on endorsement, we are requesting a first and final review just so that the process can get started.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Board members, any questions? Okay. Is there a motion to waive first review and approve the regulatory change as recommended by APTEL?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Roll call. Dr. Bridges?
Aye.
Mr. Hanson?
Aye.
Dr. Northern?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kilgore?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Great. You're up again.
Thank you so much. This item is a final review, or first review of the final stage of a regulatory action that has been in the works since about 2022, when in the budget for the 2022 biennium, the Virginia Board of Education was directed to develop and promulgate regulations for private special education day schools on restraint and seclusion that establish the same requirements for restraint and seclusion as those in public schools. In March of 2024, after some delays in that action, the board opened a 3-stage regulatory process, a full regulatory development cycle. They issued a NORA, Notice of Intended Regulatory Action, along with the draft regulatory text, which then went through for publication and public comment, and then came back for the proposed stage in March of 2025. And the public comment on the proposed stage closed in February of 2026 with 2 comments received. So this action is now coming back to the board at the final stage for first review. And for final review, we anticipate in April. The text that has been developed and the comments were largely outside of the scope of the regulatory action, enact the legislative requirement that we make requirements the same between public schools and private special education day schools on restraint and seclusion.
Okay. Board members, are there any questions? Great. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chapman. We will accept this item for first review and see you at the next board meeting.
Thank you.
One more for you.
One more.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah.
Are we on item H? I'm sorry.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
we just went through item H. We're now transitioning to I.
No, G, this is H, yeah.
Mr. G's are on H.
I'm sorry, yes, we are on
Sorry.
H. My lines are blurred here. We are on H, the first review of the action to amend that one, right, Jim?
That's correct,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Mhm.
Yes, this action is the first review of another regulatory action that's required by legislation, by Chapter 186 of the 2025 Acts of the Assembly, which directed the board to amend its regulations relating to the accreditation requirements for professional education programs, to require the DOE to provide an alternative to the requirement to obtain and maintain national accreditation from CAPE, or the Council for Accreditation of Educator Preparation, for any professional education program that leads to an endorsement as a school counselor or a school psychologist, if that program has secured a specialty accreditation from a specialized accrediting agency recognized by the U.S. Secretary of Education or the Council for Higher Education Accreditation. The proposed regulatory action amends 8 VAC 20-543-20, and which provides regulations governing the accreditation of professional education programs in order to enact this legislative mandate. Again, we think that this particular piece of legislation gave the board exactly the language it needed in order to fulfill the legislative mandate. And so we have that text presented for you here for first review.
Great, thanks, Jim. Mr. Chapman, any questions from the board? This is item H. Okay, thank you. We will accept this item for first review and see you in April.
Thank you.
Mr. Chapman, thank you for your presentations. Do we have Mr. Williams up next? Oh, 2 Williams. I was thinking it was the other one. All right, good morning.
Madam President, Superintendent, board members, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Jeff Williams. I oversee the Childcare licensing team. So a group of about 130 licensing specialists and inspectors across the state. I was going to question Mr. Chapman and the superintendent's decision to put me last. I'm like, I thought I was their friend, but saying good morning versus good afternoon, I don't feel quite as bad. So I'm here to share an overview regarding a guidance document that we're going to be issuing to child care providers in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So the guidance document is needed to clarify a process that we have been doing for the past 20 years regarding when child care providers need to let parents know that a child has been exposed to a communicable disease. So the regulations for licensed child day centers incorporates by references several different documents and code reference related to communicable diseases that's put out by the health department. So standard 8 VAC 2780-490C requires parents to be notified when a child has been exposed to a communicable disease listed in the Department of Health's communicable disease chart. So in long story short, we're working really, really closely with the health department to make sure children are safe. And we need this guidance document to help operationalize that for child care providers so there's no assumptions. The requirement is that parents are notified within 24 hours of when their child may be exposed to a communicable disease listed in the chart and report an outbreak to the Department of Health. Again, trying to be proactive here when it comes to communicable diseases. The guidance document provides an explanation in clear terms regarding which diseases are reportable and when, and also includes how to respond when exposure has occurred prior to the knowledge of a communicable disease. So most of us know that there's an incubation period, so it really kind of gets down in the weeds of helping to providers understand that incubation period is different for different diseases. So when it comes to determining exposure, it's based on notification of the center that a staff person or a child has been diagnosed with a communicable disease. But because of those incubation periods, it might be different in terms of how far back that parent, that staff person or child was exposing others to a possible communicable disease. So the best way to talk through this is talking about examples. And one of the things we love doing in childcare, we like talking about icky things. So I'm going to start with example number 2 in your slide presentation regarding conjunctivitis or pink eye. So when a person or a child is exposed to conjunctivitis, infections upon contact with eye discharge or contaminated particles, and there's an incubation period of 3 days. So I might be diagnosed today with conjunctivitis, but I might have been communicating that possibly 1 to 3 days prior to that. So in this example, parents of any child that may have been exposed within the last 3 days must be notified. So if on a Wednesday, I'm diagnosed with conjunctivitis and I am a teacher, then all the children I've come in contact with Monday and Tuesday, those are the children whose parents need to be notified that that their child might have been exposed. So this is the first review that we're offering up to the board. Are there any questions?
Thank you for the icky example. Board members or Superintendent, did you want to add?
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I think to emphasize one point of clarity, this is about notification, not exclusion. So again, the goal here is just around making sure that parents are informed. In our longer set of standards, we talk about, when children are not allowed to return to care if they are in fact ill. But in this case, it is only about notification.
Thank you, Superintendent. Board members, any questions? Mr. Robinson?
Thank you for this thoughtful work. If I'm a runner of a child care facility, what support do I receive in helping understand these requirements and have scaffolding with figuring out how to get out a message to the parents as soon as possible, given the, when it's time, given the timeliness, importance of this communication?
Sure, good question. So this has been a process that we've been doing for the last 20 years. So what we'll do in this instance is we call what's called Readiness Connection. So every single week, we'll send out an email to childcare providers, Head Start teachers, a plethora of people. Once this is approved, it'll be a 30-day public comment period. So whenever we as the department have information we want to get out, we usually do it at least two ways. One, we'll put out the Readiness Connection every Tuesday, but we'll also send out a memo to every child care provider. Because this is for licensed centers, all of these centers would have a relationship with their inspector. So what we do a lot of times is at the next inspection, we'll have the inspectors go over this information with the providers. Like, hey, just want to make sure you saw this. Do you have any questions along those lines? One of the things that we're doing a lot more also is trying to encourage the health department to be proactive. And actually, when we do certain inspections, we'll actually try to have the health department give some input or give some advice on that. As part of the development of this guidance document, we've been working a lot closer with the health department. So one of the things we're trying to do is build a closer relationship with them and say, hey, can you do this on your part? This is kind of your areas of expertise, because we just want to be careful of not stepping into their lane when it comes to some of this stuff. Did I answer your question there?
It does. I love the coordination with the health department and the inspectors, and I'm sure this is already in place, but just really encourage, a lot of that's about the guidance up front.
Yes, sir.
And in terms of like the hotline when it's time to move fast for the safety of our children.
Right.
I just hope that I assume and hope that we continue to enhance that process as well.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. We've talked so much about how COVID, there were so many bad things, but one of the good things that happened over COVID was being able to, the licensing inspectors who are so often seen as like the child care police, seeing more as the licensing inspector as a teacher. So I think we've done a great job, not we, the inspectors, building those relationships with child care providers so the providers aren't scared to ask questions. They're like, hey, I'm unsure about this, can you help me? So definitely hear you and definitely working even more so to build those relationships.
Dr. Norton?
Will there be an example of a notification letter, for instance, or communications examples for, folks when they have a case like this in what you guys are developing?
Yeah, we haven't done that yet. We have examples of others that we have used. A lot of times we lean towards the health department giving that guidance because it's kind of theirs. But I think that's definitely something we take back to the health department to say, hey, do you have any guidance for using that? We've done a good job of having model forms, but having model letters would probably be a great next step. I think that's a great input there.
Thanks, Dr. Norman. Board members? Dr. Bridges?
Thank you. A quick question and then a technical question.
Yes, ma'am.
So this isn't updating guidance, so what guidance were child care providers previously operating under for this?
So one of the difficulties that we have found in working with the health department, not so much working with the health department, but there seemed to be some ambiguity on the guidance that the health department had provided.
So it was
So
much
this is really trying to bridge that gap.
Gotcha.
You know, one of the things that you'll hear, there's the reportable diseases, and there's communicable diseases chart, and there's this chart, and there's that chart, and there's this and that. So the health department has done a great job of kind of getting things a little bit more succinct for child care providers, because there's ambiguity of child care providers versus schools. So we are doing a much better job of kind of bridging that gap. And this guidance document is really kind of the foundation for the next steps.
And then my technical question is about the potential or expected action to repeal the reg and replace with the new reg, and the need for possible technical amendments.
Yes, ma'am. So right now, I think in the June board meeting, we're going to be bringing some proposed CDC regulations for final review. So what that will do is that will change the regulation from 780 to 781. And so we'll probably need to tweak the document. One of the things we always struggle with is how much information to put in the regulation versus the guidance document. So we're not really sure how that's going to play out until we bring those regs to you and you approve them. And then then we'll know what we might need to tweak based on that. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, Superintendent Conway?
Yes, thank you. So I think in fact, Mr. Robinson, this is an example of scaffolding. So just to take a step back, we have and this body will receive the opportunity to go through those in depth. We have a very lengthy set of child care regulations, center regulations that specify specifically what child care centers must do. And as part of that, they say that you must notify families, based on the VDH chart. What we found the gaps were, and why Jeff and team worked on this guidance, was that if you just looked at the VDH chart, there were broad timeframes from like 3 to 21 days, right? There was a lack of clarity. We didn't want to add all of this to the regulations. For some folks, it was very clear, right? And a sort of an assumption of I'll just take the longest term and this is clear to me. For others, it was less clear. And so we saw this guidance as a complement to those broader set of regulations. But those regulations are the must. And this is the scaffold to lay out specifically how do you interpret the VDH chart, then to be followed, as Jeff noted, with extensive communication to the field. I also think, this will be particularly, guidance documents are particularly useful with new directors or directors who are being elevated from being center teachers, and so we use that resource in that way.
Thanks. Mr. Williams, did you want to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You're giving me the agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha. Okay, if there are no other questions, we want to say, Dr. Northern?
I just wanted to add a quick clarification. So just anecdote, I have a friend who teaches in South Carolina, and they've had 85, she was on an email chain, and they've had 85 new measles cases in the last 10 days. And it's created just pandemonium there. And I just went back to my email to read what she was talking about. And she says she's head of a local school board there. And she's like, she's been kind of taken in to try to communicate with the Department of Public Health. So the more that we can get these processes really clear cut in front of us before, it happens here. I just know that state has been going quite and through pandemonium through these measles breakouts.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Williams, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
We will accept this item for first review and see you in April.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think that concludes our discussion items. Board members, are there any other current issues, or Superintendent Conway, any additional closing comments or remarks you want to share?
Not for me, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Hanson?
I just wanted to follow on Madam President's comments at the beginning of the meeting, but just to recognize and congratulate Superintendent Conway, and just appreciate getting to work with you these last couple of years, but just grateful for your leadership and your vision. And I know the students and parents and teachers and leadership will be very much blessed by your tenure here. And Also just wanted to welcome Dr. Bridges and Mr. Robinson to the board, and look forward to meeting Ms. Reinhardt and Dr. Wilson, I hope, in our next meeting. And also just would be remiss if I didn't say a thank you to our 4 outgoing board members with Brandon Monk and Antoine Green and Beth Ackerman and Mark Caraway, and just, again, all practitioners in the field and leaders in their respective fields, and just I learned a lot from them, and just grateful to have had the chance to serve in a brief stint with one of them, but with the other 3 as well. So, but just wanted to thank them for their service to the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson. I ditto your comments. Other board members? Mr. Robinson?
I want to add my thanks as well to the former board members, and just also my thanks to Secretary Smith and Superintendent Conway and both their teams for the listening tour. I had a chance to engage in one earlier this week, and it was, I validate Superintendent Conway's comments about how energizing it was to hear, and just wanted to put that shout out in part because there's still some opportunities ahead, both in person and virtually, for one for teachers, one for parents, and just encourage the public to participate in that, and look forward to a summary of what we learned from the great input.
Thanks, Mr. Robinson. Ms. Kilgore?
I want to, as you said, say ditto or echo what's been said. We welcome our new members, look forward to working with the ones who aren't here. And I've told Superintendent Conway in private a couple times, but I want to say it publicly, that when I learned that she was going to be in this position, I took a deep breath of relief and was so thankful that it's her, and I know that our Department of Education is in great hands. So looking forward to continuing to work with her as we have in the past and in different levels now.
Great. Dr. Bridges?
I want to echo everything that's been said. I wonder if you could mention the 2 upcoming opportunities so that folks know when they might join.
Absolutely. So we do have a web page on the VDOE website that lists all the listening session opportunities. We will be going to Colonial Heights. So if you're in the vicinity, we would love to have you come out, and you can register there, as well as going to Northern Virginia later in April. So our web page is the best site to find out about that. And for those of you who might prefer to do a virtual session, those are also advertised in mid-April. So multiple additional opportunities to register and to join and to share your feedback about public education in the Commonwealth.
If there are no other comments, I want to also thank Superintendent Conway and her team for our first meeting together. Thank you. It was efficient, and we got good work done, and look forward to future board meetings. And with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have to do a roll call for that too? Okay, I don't have to do, we all agree. Motion adjourned. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.